All right, welcome to the Pinfall. I'm your host, Danny Bell, and tonight we have our two Merrillville coaches with David Maldonado and Paul Maldonado. Paul is the coach of the girls team, and Dave is the coach of the boys team, but they're interchangeable because they're both assistants for each one. We decided to come in here to Merrillville because Merrillville is one of the elite programs in the area. They've been an elite program in the area, and they've been consistently rising since 2002 and 2003. Once the Maldonados decided to take charge over here in Merrillville, it seemed like the flow of athletes at the state tournament wouldn't stop. And this year was another testament because they have 6 girls and 5 boys that have made it to state. Before we even got into the interview, we were in the wrestling room, and there's dozens of kids already in there, and it's days after state. So the wrestling doesn't stop here in Merrillville, which is why we chose Merrillville to get our questions in today. Dave, we had a lot of opportunities to watch you guys, and I got to commentate a lot of your matches. And watching your passion and the way you work guys through moves, it's awesome to see how we were speaking earlier, how you knew how you felt in the move and in the situation. Translating that to the kids, how is it from corner to the mat to try to get that mentality into the wrestler?
I don't know. It's kind of hard. I think it's just like anything else. I think it's just our work ethic. You know what I mean? I was a pretty hard-nosed, hard-working kid, and I think it just translated into coaching. You know, just work hard for your kids, but maybe not necessarily in there drilling hard, but like creating positions and creating drills and creating situations for kids and just understanding that. But I think it all goes back to also is building that relationship with kids. I think sometimes people feel like I'm pretty harsh with our team and with our kids, but I think it's not from day one. You kind of build that relationship with them. It's kind of like one of those things where it's that tough love, but you can't do it right off the bat. You got to kind of build that relationship. So I think that helps.
Right.
So I think even my kids and me and Coach Paul have talked about this in the past is that me being sometimes brutally honest with kids and just tell them, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're going to tell you, but when you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, we're going to tell you that too. So I think that translates a lot. But like you said earlier, I think one of the benefits of me as a coach is that I can remember how I feel in position. So I can think of a position, think of a move, but I can also remember how I felt. What position was my hand in? Wow, pressuring. Was I not? Where was my head position? Was I driving with my hips, or where was I using my legs? So I mean, I think that helps. In that, I don't know. I think I've always been able to develop that. Even as a kid, I could see a move and then be able to do it. Where I've had kids and even had the conversation with my brother Billy one time. Is Bill had to kind of do things over and over and over again where I could kind of see something and be like, oh, I didn't even do that. So just by watching, so I think that's helped. It's what I was translating into coaching is being able to break things and break positions down and know, okay, hey, this is where your hand has to be. And not only does your hand have to be here, your head has to be here, your feet have to be here and things like that. So,
Right. I hear Billy's doing pretty good coaching as
oh yeah,
well.
no, he's doing a great job down in Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
We actually had we actually go down to a camp down there. There's a Penn State camp that kind of goes on down there, and we travel to that every year. And his kids are there, and so now he's done a great job. I think they won the
Yeah.
state title.
Yeah. I was talking to your dad about it,
Yeah.
and he was telling me a pretty cool story about you and Billy Joe. He said he was going in to a room looking for Billy. He was like, where are they? Goes in to look for him, and he opens the door, and it's Cale Sanderson. Like, what are you doing in Billy's? And he's now thinking about it. Then I didn't really think about, like, it was just Cale.
Yeah.
Now it's different, and how the relationship that you've had with him all through the years, you've got an opportunity to go into all those tournaments as well. And that's an opportunity that a lot of kids from this area don't really get. And the point I'm getting to is the Cale Sanderson thing. You were, at the same college, so the coaches saw the same thing in you as they did in him. And to bring you in like that, it's a mentality thing. And I think a lot of people don't really understand how blessed we are to have your kind of mentality here, showing these kids, because you're not just coaching a kid, you're a life coach. And when you say people think that you're being rough on them, I don't feel that way. I feel you're holding them accountable. Mm-hmm. Accountability is something that it's very important when it comes into wrestling. And you guys all hold everyone accountable. And the brutal honesty is kind of great, because I feel like you should be unapologetically you. Mm-hmm. And if you can translate the message through your best means to do that. And you guys have definitely, every year, you'll have a kid. I've seen a couple times where there's a kid is his first year wrestling, he's a sophomore. By the time he's a senior, he's cracking the door in a ticket round in semi-state. Like, he's been on the mat less than 3 years, and you guys have already put that effort in. It's awesome to see that. And it's a lot of homegrown talent. You guys put in a lot of effort with your guys, and there was little guys in there. We're going to see them, I'm sure, in the state situations in the next 5 years as well. But you guys are also doing it with the girls. And you guys have put 6 girls into state, or was this the first inaugural season? But then last year, you guys had the same ones pretty much doing it as well. I think you also have an 8th grade state champ as well now. So you got another one coming up. How are you guys keeping the girls, like, or is it the same philosophy with the girls that it is with the guys?
So the funny thing is, Danny, is that I think 2 years ago when it was becoming an emerging sport, Coach Maldonado, Dave sat down with Miss Beckham and said, if we're going to do this, this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to treat the girls exactly the same way that we treat the boys. We're going to hold them to the same standards, same practices, and they're going to show up for morning practices. They're going to practice 5 days a week. They're going to practice on Saturdays. And he said, we're not going to do it any other way, because he felt that it would be cheating them if we didn't treat them the same way.
Right.
The same way. And we started that 2 years ago with the girls that we had. And I think we started with maybe five or six. Joy was here freshman year, wrestling both boys and girls. Izzy was as well. She didn't break the varsity lineup, but she was still wrestling some JV matches, right, going out there competing and winning matches against boys. And then from that year on, we just kind of built from there. And each year we kind of doubled our numbers until this year, where we kind of had an idea that we were going to be pretty good coming into the season. And we just kept that same work ethic that Coach talks about. Accountability, he said, you used that word, that's a big thing, where you're holding not only the athletes accountable, but parents, the coaching staff, and everybody around. And it's really has helped us with the success that we had, just that alone. But not only that, the work ethic, and like, you know, he puts a lot of time in, and he's always evolving each year.
Right.
I mean, the amount of wrestling this guy watches every day is like, I joke with him sometimes, because I'll come in and I'll catch him in his office, and of course he's got Flow Wrestling up, or he's watching something, or he's talking about this technique or that technique.
I'm not surprised.
And I mean, there's a reason why
right.
he's you know, as good as he is. And also where he wrestled. He wrestled at Iowa State. You mentioned Kel Sanderson being a teammate of him, Bobby Douglas being his coach. And one thing we talk about a lot too is the coaches that we had growing up. We were very fortunate to have some very good high school coaches as well. And Coach had Scott Hinkle for 3 years. I had Coach Hinkle my freshman year, and then Bill Kelly after that. So
wow,
we've had the luxury of having some good guys
really good
corner
ones.
us and kind of show us in, and at a very vital point in our wrestling careers as well.
Well, I was telling guys, I brag kind of lately. I've been noticing a lot of your guys, because I've been watching you guys for a long time. I kind of starting to figure out a Mount Rushmore of the area, and I got to have the Maldonados on the Mount Rushmore of the area, because I mean, just from your father, just all the coming back, how many times has he traveled with you, and like been there through some of the battles that you guys have all, and your cousins, everyone, you guys have been such an intricate part for this area, and it's only getting better and better. How many every year you've got 50 kids that go through, maybe 10 of them, 15 of them seniors. You're putting in functionable members of society every single year that have went through very tough practices where your intestinal fortitude is just insane now. You've been put through the suck. All the injuries, 2.5 hour practices for a 6-minute match. You guys are putting out such great athletes, but really amazing human beings. You can tell by the way they carry themselves. Your boys too. I love watching your boys wrestle. The way they hand fight, the way they pummel, the way they are just aggressive it is so awesome watching that. But it's it's such an image of you, how he is. Now, that's a question I really wanted to get into because I asked a lot of the coaches, what's the difference? Is there any difference when you're coaching, David or Matthew to any other one? Because you do know them a little bit better and you know them completely. You get that parent aspect on the corner. How is it to coach your sons on the mat?
I think it's just like anything else. I think it's a little bit more emotional, a little more, more to it. But I've always taken it that and the approach of I've always coached every single one of my wrestlers as they were my kid.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? I've always done that. If you walked into one of our practices, you couldn't tell who my son was in the room because I'm going to hold them all accountable. The unique thing that we have here in Merrillville that's helped our girls is that they're getting all of Coach Baldonado. Like, it's not like, okay, the girls are going to practice at a certain time and the girls are going to do something separate. No, they're getting all of us.
Right.
And I think that's the unique part of our wrestling room where we have 4 full mats. So our freshmen, our JV, our varsity, and our girls all practice together. We're all doing the same things. We're all being, it's one of those situations where I talked as a parent one time. I talked to another parent and said that if your kid is a freshman and he has the opportunity to train and to work with the varsity, you would want that. You know what I mean? The same thing with the girls. I think you cheat the girls. You know what I mean? Like the conversation I had with Amy Beck, and I said, I'm not going to cheat them. I'm not going to cheat the girls. As a parent, if I had a daughter, I would be disappointed if they weren't getting everything.
Right.
Like if they weren't getting what the boys were getting. Some parents would be like, well, they're girls. And this, no, it's not. I don't have that type of mentality. It's just like, no, like if we're gonna be a wrestling team, let's be a wrestling team. Let's not be a girls wrestling team. I joke with the girls all the time. I said, I don't need you to be girls. I need you to be wrestlers. And I'm not going to treat you any different because I don't think it's fair to you at the end of the year. Like, oh, I'm going to be easier on you because you're a girl.
Right.
No, you're not. You're a wrestler. And I'm going to do the best I can to get you where you need to be. And then at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you to do what needs to be done. But I think that's the aspect of it. And kind of going back, and we don't talk about winning a state title. We don't talk about winning a state title. We talk about competing for one. And that makes a difference.
It does.
Because if all you're doing is training to win a state title, that's all you're focused on. But when you're training to compete for one, it's a different mentality because you may not get there and you might have to get the second best thing. The conversation I had with Marlon after him getting beat on Saturday morning to a pretty good Brownsburg kid.
Really good.
So I'm like, hey, dude, like you gotta suck it up. You gotta, you gotta get the next best thing. You can't get first, you can't get third right now, but the best we can do is fifth. So let's try to get there. And having that type of mentality where throughout the season, we're not worried about whether a kid goes undefeated or not, or whether a kid wins the Mishawaka or not. It doesn't matter. In fact, I get to the point where after the first 2 rounds, I don't even want to be at the tournament anymore.
Right.
Because I already know what we need to work on. And when we get to Monday, we're gonna make some changes. And I'm already chomping at the bit to get back in the wrestling room because we all understand that that's where you get better.
Right.
You get mat time, you get matches, you want to feel that, but you got to be in the room. You got to be making adjustments and adapting to stuff. And I think we've always done a pretty good job of adapting, of evolving. We're not the same team we were back in 2000.
You're not.
We used to run a lot of crossface cradles and things like that. Well, guys started finding our crossface cradle. Well, guess what? It's okay. Now we started working on some other things. And then we worked on some other things. So it's one of those things where we're ever evolving. And like Coach said, I'm constantly watching videos. When we go down to that Penn State camp down in Georgia, I picked those guys' brains. Casey Cunningham's a phenomenal technician. He is one of those guys where he's under the radar. He could probably be the head coach at another university or whatever. But man, talking to him and kind of bouncing ideas off of him, and Cody, was a teammate of mine as well, and Kale, those guys, and just talking about different things in different positions. And it's like, you have to be evolving. because everything's trickling down.
Right.
So everything that's happening at the college level is trickling down to the high school level.
Yep. Well, I've watched you guys progress from, say, the girls' team to last year to this year. Even Joy with second place to state. You know, last year she had a tough match against Ocampo in the finals. And that's a tough one, but she kept that close still. And now that little sting at the end there pushed her through, and I don't think anybody got out of the first minute with her. She was just, I was laughing. Me and my wife were making jokes like, I think Joy's going to get her in 38 seconds this time. Like, and then it'd be like 39. Like, oh, I was kidding. It just happened like that. But watching you guys progress from last year to this year, I must have looked at maybe like 5 different tournaments that you guys won. You were the team state dual champs as well, sectional champs, regional champs. Like, you guys just walked through, then or your state runner-ups. Like, from last year to this year, I always tell people you don't rise to the level of your goals, you rise to the level of your systems, or you fall to the level of your systems, depending on what you do. Your system has literally made leaps and bounds in 1 year with the ladies team. Where I think I was telling you earlier in the season, like, I don't think anybody can touch you right now. Like, I don't see anyone at all being able to touch you guys right now. And it was at a tournament here. It might have been a dual meet against Crown Point, I think it was. I didn't see any chance for anyone. Then when at the end at the state, I was like, wow, there might be another team out there that can wrestle with these girls. But I still didn't see it. Like, I said, no, they're too tough. It's watching these girls, they're not the same animal as they were last year. Being that, I think that is a testament also to what you're saying, being in the room. So what it was like getting all those extra tournament wins, like, I guess we're holding up some trophies this year. You're going to need a little trophy case to catch up with the guys here soon.
For that, though, that's all the credit goes to the girls for that. I mean, they trusted in everything that we were giving them and showing them. And then when it came time to go out there, they went out there and they put it together. And, they did all the things that they were supposed to do. And then the winning is just kind of a byproduct of that, right?
Right.
But they were the ones in the room. They're the ones showing up for morning practices. Our girls' attendance is probably, let's just call it was better than what some of the boys is. But they all bought in. And
right.
Sometimes that's the difference. They came in, they worked, and the results showed out on, paper.
Right.
And, a state tournament, it's tough to win a state tournament.
It is.
I mean, you can have all the right pieces, but, you have to still wrestle it. And, this year we came up a little short, but that happens.
Right.
So we're not going to say we're disappointed because it was a state runner-up finish. So that's it's always nice to go down there and wrestle well. But we'll be back in the room and ready to go again next year and wash, rinse, repeat, right? Every year.
That's right. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys coming in for this interview, or let us come in here for the interview. We want to get some interviews with the girls too. You guys have 5 of the girls that went to state in the room today too. So that's a really cool thing to have kids that are still like, it's not over. I'm sure a lot of these girls are going to be wrestling probably at the next level if they wanted to, the way they're wrestling now. And in the room, it's pretty cool. Hopefully you guys let us come back in and maybe get a couple more of these in, because I'd like to get a live one of watching your practices, just to watch how, just walking in, I was making jokes. I think they should make a Scentsy that smells like a wrestling room. I'd buy that up. Well, my wife would probably hate it, but I would buy that thing up. All right. We appreciate it. So we will catch you guys here on the second episode here. We're going to go into the next session, and we're going to get in some interviews with the girls. Thank you, David. Thank you, Paul, for coming in. Appreciate it.
You guys coming.
Yep.
When life keeps you busy and you can't get to the store, shop online with Strack & Van Til To Go. Our to-go service is easy to use. Register using your rewards account information, fill your virtual cart, and choose delivery or pickup. Once your order is in, our own Strack & Van Til team preps your order with care. With our to-go service, you can earn reward points and save time and money with our online coupons and weekly ad prices. Life made simple, shopping made easy. For more information or to sign up, visit shop.strackandvantil.com.
Our hero, Lantern Man, faces off against a nefarious insurance swindler.
I'll trick them into a contract and just keep raising the rates.
Luckily, they can make a call to Crow Company's Lantern Man. He's always ready to protect families from the insurance swindler.
I can easily defeat your overpriced policies.
Fair prices always prevail when you call me, the Crown Company's Lantern Man.
Crown Companies, insurance professionals. Highland, Merrillville, and Michigan City.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Four Seasons Mechanical proudly serves Northwest Indiana, providing quality, reasonably priced, reliable service. With a quality and comfort guarantee, the professionals at Four Seasons Mechanical offer a wide range of services in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Whether it's residential or commercial, Four Seasons Mechanical is there 24/7. To find out more, the website is fourseasonsmechanical.com or give them a call at 219-756-7020. Four Seasons Mechanical, your indoor air quality specialist.
Earn while you learn from the best hands in the business. The Bricklayers Allied Craft Workers for Indiana, Kentucky Apprenticeship. That's right, this is a paid apprenticeship.
I'm getting an education while learning a trade and getting paid for it.
The thing that surprised me the most about this apprenticeship program is the respect I've received after the proper time and training.
Classes start soon, so apply now. There are training centers throughout Indiana and Kentucky. We are the Bricklayers and Allied Craft Workers for Indiana, Kentucky Apprenticeship. The best hands in the business.
And we're back. We're here with the Lady Pirates. We have a group of individuals here, 5 of the 6 state qualifiers for the Lady Pirates, and one of their middle school state champs. We'll let them introduce themselves. We'll start off here.
I'm Joy Cantu. I'm 110 pounds.
I'm Alani Alvarez. I was the 125 pounder.
I'm Julian Cantu, and I wrestled 130.
I'm Charisma Lawrence. I wrestled 135.
I'm Megan Thomas, and I wrestled 100 pounds.
Zariah Chisholm, and I wrestled 102.
All right. We got on the ends, we have a state champ, and we got a runner-up in the middle. We got some placers, and we got qualifiers. The thing about Merrillville wrestling is, we were just speaking with the coaches. A lot of these girls, you really can't tell the difference. You really can't say, oh, she's a girl. Like David was saying, they're wrestlers. And that's one of the unique things about wrestling is we cheer on each other, where in, like, say, in other sports, you're thinking, oh, they're not that good, or the WNBA is as good as the NBA. Well, in wrestling, we love the girls wrestling just as much as we love the guy wrestling. And we're so happy to have them involved. And being an opportunity to have such high-level girls wrestling right down the road from us, we should take as many opportunities as we can to go out and see these girls and cheer them on, because they're the fastest growing sport in America right now, and they're leading the way. These are the pioneers of the sport, and you're looking at some really qualified wrestlers here. And for you wrestling coaches out there, I promise you, if you're selecting wrestlers from the girls' wrestling room here at Merrillville, you're getting yourself a really good wrestler. Make sure you guys make a trip here to see these girls as well. Joy, you had a couple good matches last year, but this year you really put the ice cream on top of the cake. How did it feel to finally get that state championship?
It felt really good. I was kind of just expecting, like, I just kept on telling myself, one more year of boys, one more year until my senior year. And then I wanted to do all girls my senior year. I didn't want to wrestle boys anymore. So I just kept on telling myself 3 years of boys, and then I can be done.
Well, you definitely put it on a few of the boys. You really couldn't tell. Like, if you was shaved head and the other guy was shaved head, you wouldn't really be able to tell by the way you're wrestling, because you do have the John Cantu, David Maldonado style wrestling. You got a lot of family members who are wrestlers. You got a nice little mat in the house as well. It kind of helps you guys. And that's a really good thing to have, is somebody like you, because I've watched you grow up. I watched you play softball. You're a multi-sport athlete. And it's cool to see you coming home to wrestling and staying here, because I really felt like that was going to be where you really excelled. Your intellect is really high. You have a really high mat IQ. But I think it's your push, your drive. And I think it's really beneficial for the team to have somebody like you on the team, because you set a really good example. You push through a lot of the bad situations. And I think that you're one of those girls that needs to be paid attention to, like the Ocampo and Crawl, You're not a regular wrestler. You're high level, which is, I think, a lot. So there's going to be a college coach out there that's going to be really happy to get you. And hopefully everything that you put in the room trickles down into these girls too, because you've already got another one that's kind of like already winning in middle schools like you guys were doing. And so it's going to really be really good to get that. Alani, you had some tough matches, but I got a chance to watch you as well. You're kind of you're a lot stronger than you think you would be. Talk us through some of your situations to where you, like, are you more of a technique, or do you feel like you're an in the moment type of wrestler?
Honestly, when I go and I wrestle, I don't really think about anything. I think I just kind of just do whatever I feel. Dave talks a lot about you just got to feel positions, and I think him constantly bringing that up at practice just helps me through my matches, because I feel like I also get in a lot of scrambles, and doing these drills at practice really helped me through that.
Okay, so you like to scramble. You're one of the turn and burn styles. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable in the scramble more than you would in other situations?
Yeah, I would say I do, especially when I roll around with my brother after practice. I feel like just rolling around sometimes helps too, because you never really know what you're going to get into, and just rolling around helps you.
It really does. Mat time is really key. We got a runner up here in the middle over there. So I know second place doesn't feel as good as first place, but I promise you, I've known so many people who have come in second and think that was probably one of the best things that happened to them because of what they'd done afterwards. Because when they're getting closer and closer to that moment, they're like, that ain't happening again. She kind of said that last year, and this year she was like, nobody's getting out of a minute. All right. And I could see you're a young wrestler, so you're going to be moving along like that. What's one of the benefits of having an older sister that wrestles at such a high level?
It's like, it's kind of like, it's a good thing. And it's like, I always like, she like teaches me like how like, cause like when I don't want to go to practice, she like makes me go basically. And it's like, she pushes me to do it. And like, obviously we're siblings, so we're like really competitive with each other. And it's just like, I think that motivates me too. So like, they don't just know like who Joy is, they also like know who I am, you know?
Right.
So it's like, because everyone knew Joy from like boy season and stuff, but like, you know? So I think she just like pushes me, and like, it just like our competitiveness just like makes me like work a little harder too.
That's good. I like the way you responded to it, because you didn't have it like an angry aspect to it. You were kind of like, you knew she was right, and so you listened to her, and that's good, because it's hard to listen to your older siblings. Trust me, I know. But your style is a little bit different than hers. She's on more of a, I guess, a lower attack style, and her ride is a little bit different. You're really strong on the sides, where a lot of times where she's riding straddle ride, hopping hips. You can, you dominate from the side. Is that, wrestling with dad and your siblings, has that helped a lot of your progression outside of the room?
Yeah, it definitely has helped, because like my dad, obviously, like you said, we have a wrestling room in our basement. So my dad used to like just go down there for 45 minutes and just work on technique and stuff. And like, I feel like I got way better at, like, I think my best position is top. And I feel like that, like the stuff that Dave taught me, and like, cause before state, like we came up with this move just in case, cause the higher level girls know what I'm doing. So like this move, like kind of like helped me more. And like, that's how that's how I got on my semis match, because the girl beat me all year, but we did the move that he like told me to do, and it got me there.
That type of situation, that develops a lot of trust in your coach as well, that they can see something that you didn't know was there. And a lot of the times that's really hard for a wrestler to trust in their coach, when there's like, you sure this is going to work? And then it works, and you're like, oh, yeah, that was sweet. Okay, coach, you know your stuff. All right. All right, next we have our next wrestler. We have Charisma Lawrence.
Oh, hello.
How are you today?
I'm good.
So I watch you wrestle a lot as well. I think I got about 5 or 6 matches I got to watch you this year. You're really good from your feet. Your level changes are really nice, and you really get people chasing. You've got a lot of really good counterattacks. What's your favorite? Is it more of a less of a neutral or bottom or top type of wrestler?
I love wrestling for my feet, so I'll say neutral for sure.
I figure you really show your talent on your feet. The way you move and create angles, you can tell how Coach Maldonado was saying you guys are all in the same room together. You're still creating angles that I see a lot of their wrestlers do with the hand fighting and the club and the aggressiveness in your feet. It seems like you've almost embraced the attack and realized I'm really good at this. I think I'm going to push my limits. What's it like when you start to feel your opponents break? Because I saw you break a few of your opponents just on your feet, and then the cut and run. You're really good on your feet, so you trust yourself. What's it like to push
Um,
through those people?
for me, when I'm really like in the moment, because I'll say when I go into my matches, I don't necessarily have a plan, but I know how to counter different attacks, and I won't say I'm defensive, but I do go off of when trying to think. I don't know. I'll just answer your question. I'll tell you when they do start to break, it definitely does give me a confidence boost for sure. I pay more closer attention to what they do. You know, my favorite attack is a sweep single, so an outside single. So that's always there for me, especially when they break, because you can really just start to feel it.
You can.
Yeah, and like when when their footsteps, they get heavier. I'll say for me, like it's definitely a sight to see. Yeah.
Well, I like to watch it too because I can see it in your. A lot of you guys don't even realize you take on your coach's bravado, how your coaches carry themselves, how they are. You guys start to do it. And then I watch when you're on your feet, you start cutting. I see this little swagger come out, and you start to okay. And you start like you're dodging punches and everything. Like
clip
what?
farming, yeah.
Yes. Well, that's the point though. Is this is a dance. This really is a dance, and it's an art. And if you enjoy yourself, you'll start to make it an art and make it look fun, and it makes it really fun for us as fans. But that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was the way you attack on neutral. It's you're gonna be nasty next year, and it ain't gonna be right because I'm gonna be talking some smack. I'm sorry, ladies. She hits you on that sweep single, I'm gonna be like, there it is again. There it is. But we appreciate your comments on this. We look forward to seeing you again next year. All right, Megan. So how are we today?
I'm good.
So you're not a loud one, as most of us are, because I'm a wrestler. I'm really loud, but you're kind of like straight and to the point. But you're really fast, and when you're wrestling, and one of the good things is you don't like to lose either. So you didn't have too many L's on the record, but the way you get in underhooks, I don't usually see a little person get in the underhooks and work them the way you do. What is it like to learn how to pummel from these guys up here in the room?
It's definitely a learning curve. Like at first, like the first whole week I did those drills. First time, I didn't know what I was doing. But once you start to learn the positions, once you're, in the room for weeks, months, it becomes like second nature, and it's actually it's fun to be in those positions. Like, it's high stakes, but when you can pull it off, it works really well. So yeah.
That's it's a really good answer when you said it's really fun, because this sport isn't fun until you understand it. Once you understand it, this sport is really fun because you can start picking things apart. And you start getting your next level when you start to coach, you really get a different kind of passion for it. But if you're enjoying being in the moment, whether it's track, baseball, wrestling, if you can enjoy the moment of the sport that you're in, because this doesn't last forever. Hearing you say that you enjoyed being in that moment and then knowing that there was a learning curve and you moved on, that's awesome to hear that. I can see a lot of extra work that you put in too, because you're here again after the season with all the girls here banging upstairs in a sweaty room where you guys could easily be doing something else, but this is what we really, as fans, we appreciate the work that you guys are putting in, and I want to thank you as well. So, right, you're last on the list here. So, what's it like working with these high school girls?
It's tough. It's very tough, but I like how they push me, and it gives me more experience with the high school.
Okay. So, coming into the practices after the season, you're also a state champ, and cracking that in middle school, it's a little tough. Have you been experiencing with maybe freestyle and Greco? Have you been trying any of those?
During practice, like after I work with Megan and Coach Juan with them, and it's like I don't like Greco. I can't.
I wasn't a fan
I
either.
hate throwing, but it's also like he say like you working with the positions is gonna get better, and you're gonna work.
Good. Well, a lot of shots, say for instance in freestyle, you're wanting to lace those legs and a lot of shots. And if you can get really good at that, it helps out in folk style as well. You don't have to lace, but they ain't going nowhere. And there's a lot of aspects in freestyle that you want to learn. And a lot of throws that are pretty cool to learn too. Cause I ain't gonna lie, guy or girl, I love seeing somebody get tossed. Even when it's folk style, you hear me still yelling 5. Cause I like seeing people get tossed, but you coming in with the high school girls, which one of them has been kind of a mentor so far for you to help you through?
Megan.
Megan, okay. So you guys, is it the weight class or the age?
The weight class.
Okay, that's good. You got a state qualifier to work with, and she gets a state champ to work with, and that's really beneficial. What are your guys' goals for the future? Do you guys all plan on wrestling in college?
Yeah, probably.
All right, good. I see a lot of shaking of the heads, yes, and that's what I wanted to see. You guys are in the fastest growing sport. I'm a really big fan of you guys. I watch you guys. I was bragging to Coach Paul and you guys earlier in the season. I really hope to see you guys in the next level. I think you guys can represent Indiana really well. I look forward to that. And we have one last question for you. We call it the Colza question. All right. We'll start down there and come back this way. But Dante Colza I was coaching him one year, and every camp we go to, he'd ask these wrestlers that were running these clinicians, what's your favorite cereal? And it's like, what? So, Zariah, what's your favorite cereal?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's a lot. Everybody loves that one. What you got?
Okay, I forgot the name. But they're literally just cookies, but you put them in milk and they're cereal.
That was lip on the box.
Yes.
Oh, those are nasty.
Cookie Crisp? All right.
You know, personally, I think I got the best one. I love Fruity Pebbles.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the best. You know, who don't love Fruity Pebbles?
All right.
I would say either Fruity Pebbles or Cocoa Pebbles.
Okay.
The chocolate.
You know, there's a
ones.
trick
The
to that,
chocolate
right?
ones.
If you take the Fruity Pebbles and you put them on the bottom and the Cocoa Pebbles on top, the milk doesn't get chocolatey. It's like
Yeah, but it gets then the ones at the bottom get soggy.
No, trust me.
Soggy cereal's nasty.
Not
No,
a-
it's not. Soggy cereal is so gross.
Lonnie, so what's your favorite?
I like Captain Crunch. Oops,
Cap-
all berry.
All right. With crunch berries. All right.
But if they don't have the berries, then I just do like the ones with the yellow squares.
All right.
I don't really know. I just think I just like the oats, and I just put honey on top.
All right.
I'm not a bitch. I don't eat cereal.
There you go. That's all right. You don't have to eat cereal. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. You guys are going to make a lot of people happy here in the future. I'm sure there's going to be some coaches that are going to really be happy to have you. We appreciate you joining us here in the Pinfall. We'll catch you here next time as we bring it. Well, hopefully we'll be coming back in here again. But like in life, on the mat, it's all about how you bounce back. Catch you next time on the Pinfall.
With electrical services from Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, radiate the perfect amount of light and energy into your home. From rewiring and code upgrades to ceiling fans, lighting, security, and more, Economy Electric Heating and Cooling's trained electricians will make sure you can enjoy your home on full power all the time. For a free estimate on electrical work, call Economy Electric Heating and Cooling at 219-923-4441, and you can visit them on the web at forajobdoneright.com. That's the number 4, ajobdoneright.com. Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso is a leader in athletics apparel and equipment sales. With in-house production including screen printing, trophies, embroidery, and more, Blythe's can help you to create the perfect look. For more information, visit them online at teamblythes.com. Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso, where the athletes shop.
Better Beef of Indiana. Hormone-free, locally raised, and locally processed beef. Better Beef of Indiana is located in Valpo at 2600 Beach Street, where you could buy individual cuts of beef completely raised in Hebron. From single pounds of ground beef to filet mignon, Better Beef of Indiana has it all. Visit their website at betterbeefindiana.com. Follow them on Facebook or call the owner, Kevin, directly at 219-508-5797. Better Beef of Indiana, where quality meets value.